The score is one piece of it, but really what we got to look at is the entire credit profile and the entire credit report.
How long does it take for that to reinstate, to pick up your credit score? How would you go about establishing credit that you could purchase a home?
Yeah, the first thing you want to do, and the most important form of credit that the banks look at, is really your...
So when you say pull your credit, if you go to the bank, they pull the credit once you make an application? One of the biggest things that you and I run into here is student loans, pulling down students, graduate.
Right.
And their student loan from when they were in university, not from when they were working full time, but from when they were in university,
Right,
has really pulled their credit down. Now they're making all their payments on time. Is there any way they can increase their credit rating now, as they did miss all those payments maybe while they were going to school? Because student loans seem to bite people in the bum for credit.
Student loans are a tough one. Really what we look at when we see a credit bureau on our side, we see a 24-month repayment history. So we're kind of looking at a snapshot of the last 24 payments, right? So as long as you keep making your payments on time, eventually it will phase out the payments that you have missed, right? Because again, we're only looking at the last 24 months. So if you missed a payment or you were missing payments, a year and 8 months ago, keep making the payments on time, because in 4 months, those payments start getting phased out, right? So,
oh, okay. Yeah.
We look at a 2-year snapshot is what we see.
Oh, great. Okay. Is there any quick tips you have to improve your credit?
Yeah, the first one is just keep the credit cards below, I'd say below 50% of whatever the limits are. You don't want to get up close to the limit. You definitely don't want to be over the limit. It does report pretty hard on your credit bureau. So keep the credit cards below 50% is kind of a good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
Don't cancel any credit cards unless they cost you, a monthly or annual fee, but try to keep them open, because the more available credit you have open that's not used, the better your overall utilization looks. And as an example, is like if you have, let's say, $1,000 credit card, but you owe $500 on it, it looks like you've used 50% of your credit, right? But if you have a $10,000 credit card and you've only used $500, it looks like you've used less than 10%, right? So you want to just keep credit cards open in general. Just don't close them unless you have to. Another one is just ensure your payments are on time. Another big one is cell phones. Cell phones do show up on credit bureaus, right? So missing cell phone
that's
payments,
true. That's true. Rogers.
We see it all the time.
Oh, did I single out Rogers?
And we see it all the time, and it's not necessarily, doesn't report as hard as a credit card or another loan does, but it does still show that you're missing payments. And if you can't keep up on $100, $200 cell phone payment, the banks do look at that and wonder what's going on, right? So cell phone, make sure those are on time. Credit cards, make sure those are on time. Keep them below the 50%. And don't go to multiple places looking to get credit. That's a big one.
That was my next question too.
Inquiries, right? So you do not want multiple people, multiple different banks and institutions pulling your credit at the same time, right? So it just looks like you're seeking for credit. Looks like you can't get approved for credit. So it looks like you're going out there and going to these different banks and lenders, and you're just trying to get, credit report after credit report. So it doesn't look good. So if you're going to apply for credit card, apply for one. If you're going to get yourself a car loan, go to one place and try to get a car loan, right? Be protected on who pulls your credit bureau. Don't let them do it too many times.
What about, Cyrus, when people are they're thinking of buying a home and they want to go to a couple of different lenders just to see who's got the best rate?
Yeah. So in that scenario, really what you would want to do is you should just, a mortgage broker, we only pull one credit bureau on our side. And we have access to all the banks and lenders, and we don't need to necessarily send the deal anywhere to get an answer back on the rate. We know what they offer for rates. Now, we would want to see your credit bureau and your profile to see if you qualify with a certain bank or lender, but we don't necessarily have to send it there to get an answer, right? Same thing with some people say, well, I want to check with my bank and this bank and this bank. Well, brokers can cover most of that for you. There's some banks that we don't work with, but that bank should still be able to give you a pretty good ballpark on what their rate would be. And then you can have an idea, but you don't want to go to RBC, then go to BMO, then go to Scotiabank, and then go to TD, and then have each one of those pull your credit just to figure out what the rate is, right?
So when you say pull your credit, if you go to the bank, they pull the credit once you make an application?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
once you make whether it's a pre-approval or it's an approval or whatever that might be, they will they'll pull the credit to go along with the application. So
Okay.
that's why a mortgage broker is better, because we're pulling one bureau and then we have all the banks and lenders, right?
Mhm.
Again, sometimes a certain bank will be better for a certain thing, but as long if you're going to your own bank, that's great. And going to your own bank and then coming to a mortgage broker, it's not necessarily going to have a major impact on your credit bureau. Like 1 or 2 pulls is not huge.
Okay.
If you start going to like multiple brokers, multiple banks, next thing you know, you've had 8 people check your
Mhm.
credit. And
Yeah.
then it's
Yeah.
not.
And you know, Cyrus, that with my buyers, these go to Cyrus.
we take
And they're in the
care of
best
that.
hand. The best hand.
We take care of
So let's end it off with, what is a perfect credit score?
It's a 900. So credit scores range anywhere from 300 to 900. Anything below 500, bankruptcies, proposals, missed payments, collections, anything 600 and under, collections, bankruptcies, those kind of things. 6 to 650 is okay, but it's usually not that great. Anything over 700 is great. Anything over 800 is bragging rights at that point. So I've pulled thousands of credit bureaus. I've seen a 900 credit score maybe 4 or 5 times. It's
Oh my,
rare. So
wow.
it's the unicorn.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, Cyrus, is there, well, actually, no, one more question. Is there a place that, say, I could go online and look at my own credit score?
For sure. So you actually could contact Equifax yourself and get them to send you a credit bureau. That's probably the most accurate one. But what we always tell clients to do is just sign up for Credit Karma. Credit Karma it's easy, it's free, it doesn't hurt your credit. You can just
Perfect.
It's super. I'm like, it's not the most accurate thing in the world, but it does give you a credit score. It does give you a report, and it does help you manage if your credit score is going up and down. And then depending on who you bank with, if you bank with RBC, if you bank with Scotiabank, they do have credit bureaus also now built into the online banking too. Like Scotiabank has TransUnion built in, RBC has TransUnion built in. So
I didn't know that.
you can see your own credit report through your online banking now too with some of these banks. But the easiest is Credit Karma. It's free, takes 5 minutes to set up. I get I even have it for myself. I get an email every month. I go check my score, check my report. If it goes up and down, at least I know what's contributing towards it, right? So it's a good
Credit
start.
Karma.
Yeah, Credit Karma.
Well, I'm going to sign on to that.
It's great.
Today.
It works. It works good.
I'm not on that. So,
Yep.
So Cyrus, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. And hey, Halifax, if you enjoy what we talk about on my channel, please hit subscribe, and ding, ding, you'll get one every week in it. And again, Cyrus, I really do have to say to everybody out there that you do look after all our clients. There's never been an issue. And what I like is that you have so many sources to choose from. So, if you're out there watching this, I'm going to put your contact below, Cyrus. We were going to do another video on interest rates because it's still a good time to buy. Like, I don't want people to give up their home ownership dreams because they think the rates have gone up and they're going to come back down, because that's not going to happen.
Yep. Yep.
You and I both know that. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right. We'll chat later. See ya.